Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze, Breezeway Productions The Breeze, where we bring you the latest in independent films and film festival coverage. And we are excited to continue our coverage of this year's Tribeca Film Festival. And we are here with an amazing filmmaker, a documentarian, Emmett Brennan, for his world premiere that's screening at Tribeca, Reflection, A Walk with Water. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on here.
For sure. Thanks for coming on the show. Tell us a little bit about Walk with Water, Reflection.
Yeah. So, I grew up on the East Coast with an abundance of water. And then as an adult, moved out to California and was just hit with a very different reality. And, on top of that, I'd already been feeling the immense grief of the loss of species on this planet, the decaying, dying ecosystems, and just all the change that's occurring. And that's hard to reconcile. And I really, as a filmmaker, wanted to look for a different story, a hopeful story to present to people. Like there is another way, or is there a healing path forward? And as I started really digging in, it's like everything pointed to water as this underlying fabric. And so this film came out of my studies and research and exploration, and is really looking at how our relationship with water underlies what's happening globally with the environment and with the climate and so many other things. I mean, it's political and economic and social too, but this film is really looking at how our relationship with water is at the root of environmental unraveling. And then really what we can do about it. The film's trying to present grounded, real, practical solutions to move forward.
Yeah. I know that there was one part where you talk with the tree people of Los Angeles, and that they showcase how Los Angeles was built way back when, and it was not efficient at all for water, so that the drought that's currently happening now can be totally avoided if the infrastructure is changed. You want to talk a little bit about that? Because I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a really important part of the film. It's kind of a heartbeat in some ways, this story of LA and where it gets somewhere between a third or 100% of its water, which is 200 miles away in the Eastern Sierras in the Owens Valley. The Los Angeles aqueduct pulls water from the Owens Valley. And the interesting thing to know is that LA receives an equivalent amount of water each year through rainfall to the amount that it's taking from the Owens Valley. But because of the design paradigm of the city, where everything is paved over and intentionally running water as quickly away from landscapes as possible into the paved LA River and then out to the ocean, they're not trying to store and capture the water that falls, because they're just relying on pulling from other places like the Owens Valley or the Colorado River or the Sacramento Delta. And I mean, this is significant because the areas that are being sucked dry are turning into desert. And that's important because where we are desertifying places and getting rid of vegetation, we no longer have the ability to move water from the ground, from the water tables into the atmosphere through the bodies of plants, which is it's called the small water cycle, where plants and trees and roots, they pull water from the ground, sweat it into the atmosphere, and then that water in the atmosphere dictates the climate on the planet. So wherever we're desertifying a landscape or paving it over, getting rid of vegetation, we're breaking that water cycle and eroding the climate as a consequence. So this is a long-winded way to say that if we can learn how to design LA and other cities in a manner where they are able to use the water that falls on top of them, recycle them, put that water into the aquifer, hold it in tanks, plant tons of trees, have porous concrete surfaces that allow water to percolate in, then we don't have to rely on these outside landscapes, and we can become self-sufficient and have cities that act like ecosystems.
Yeah, it sounds like Los Angeles is just taking all of the water from the rest of California and just bringing it to the densely populated area that is needing it. So it's other places outside of California are really struggling because they're getting their water not stolen or moved.
So, I mean, it's tough. LA is freaking huge.
It's huge.
Such a metropolis.
Lived there a long time. I know that it's quite the metropolis. So is New York City, but that's where people are. So you also took a journey along a pipeline with many people in like an adventure to be one with the water and to go with the water. Do you want to speak on that a little bit? Also, I also found that pretty interesting. When you
Yeah.
walk.
So I joined a group of walkers on
Yeah.
a pilgrimage, a 200-mile pilgrimage along the Los Angeles aqueduct, following the water from its source in the Sierras back to the city. And yeah, this was a really poetic and meaningful experience of just walking the landscape and seeing the changes. And there were a number of indigenous people who were on that walk with us who have lived in that landscape for thousands of years. Like
Yeah.
the mountains of that area are part of their cosmology and their creation stories. And the changes in the landscape just go right to the heart of their people and their stories. And so to have them kind of illuminate what this place used to be, the lushness of it, and this um, Owens Lake that was 110 square miles, it's now completely dry.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, it moved me deeply and connected me in a personal way to water, and really informed the rest of the film.
Sure.
So yeah.
What was your calling to make this documentary? Like, why did you feel like now was the time and that you were the person to make this doc? Is this something that you were drawn to? Have you always had an affinity with water, or how did this come about?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of what I was saying earlier, where it's like
Yeah.
I just felt so drawn to be of service
Yeah.
somehow to this moment we're in. And I'm a filmmaker, and it's something I can offer,
Yeah.
storytelling. And yeah, I just
Sure.
wanted to tell a story that was uplifting and that could hopefully orient humanity towards a more beautiful way.
Yeah.
And water is so much, it's like we're all water. Water is inside and in between and moving through all things. It's like we're all kind of just shapes that water's taking for a moment. You take water away from a tree or a body, it's just like, what would it be?
Right.
So
Water is life, right?
water is life, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think if we can understand how we're impacting water, then we can get a little closer to understanding how we're impacting life on this planet in general, and how to tend life better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope that your film expresses that message towards the viewers that are able to check it out. It is at Tribeca this year. Congratulations on your world premiere. So this is the
Thanks.
beginning of your festival journey with the film. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the Tribeca Film Festival organization for world premiering your film?
Sure thing. I mean, I'm floored that we've been given this opportunity, and what a special place to premiere and to be seen. And so yeah, I have a heart full of gratitude for them allowing us this space and giving us this platform. And I should say also that I have gratitude for Jacob Collier and Justin Coughlin, these amazing musicians who've come on board and scored the film and also written an original song, and they'll be performing live at our premiere, which is super
Hey,
exciting.
very
So
nice. Get
yeah,
a documentary and a show. Have some musical
exactly.
entertainment,
Yeah,
which
movies
is really
plus.
sweet. Well, it's nice to see that it's going to be lively. It's going to be exciting and engaging and interesting and educational for people that go to see it and learn about it and check it out. I thought that it was wonderful. It spoke to me, which is why I was excited to speak to you about it. And I'm just happy that you took the time to talk with me for a little bit about your film. And I wish you all of the best luck and success with the continued film's journey.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's been great talking.